Hi everyone, Johnny here, and today, as promised, I'm going to be going through the footage from my fight. Hopefully I'll be able to talk you through some of the things that I was thinking throughout the moments in this fight, and also talk you through my process of how I normally go and study fights. So it's going to be structured a little bit differently to how I normally do a film study. Usually when I put together a film study, you guys are seeing the finished product. So you're seeing, after all the work that I've gone through or all the times that I've rewatched that fight, I've clipped up the specific sections that I wanted to focus on. Because we're going to, this is my own fight, we're going to go through it from start to finish. Stick around. Hopefully you enjoy it. And hopefully this provides some insight into some of the ways that I actually try and study fights or how I review footage. And we'll go from there. So let's kick it off. Alrighty, so when I made my way to the cage, I was walking out to the song Glory of Love by Peter Cetera, and it's actually the song from Karate Kid 2. So I don't know if everybody's watched that movie, but when I was young, the Karate Kid movies were quite popular, and it was a cool way to sort of come out. There is a bit of a story behind that, and you'll have to go to episode 1 of the vlog to hear why I walked out specifically to that song. But one of the funny things about the walkout, and I don't know if everybody does this, but I think, a lot of people do visualize, right? So when it comes to anything important in your life, you try and visualize to give yourself that mental advantage so that nothing is as scary. So I'd already worked out at which point of the song I was going to walk out. And when we were out the back waiting to walk into the arena, there was myself and my team, and Andrew was obviously waiting to come in from the same entrance as well. So he was just outside the door. And so when they've announced me, most people usually start making their way straight to the cage. For me, I had to sing the first 2 verses of the song to get to the chorus, because there's a specific part where it starts to build up and has that bit of a crescendo. So he was probably raring to go. And as you can see, you'll see it shortly when he comes out, very different energy to mine. You can see I just, crawled my way up the stairs. I don't think people appreciate that. The stairs are actually quite steep because the platform is raised about 1 meter off the ground. So I'm just making my way around the ring and nice and relaxed. And I think one of the things that was going through my mind is to just really soak in the moment, enjoy the energy, the atmosphere, the experience. But yeah, as I was saying, so he was probably there watching me, so relaxed, singing the first couple of these verses before I made my way to the ring. It's probably one of the longest walkouts of the night because there's 2 verses before the chorus actually comes on. So anyway, Andrew's just been announced now, and he'll be making his way to the cage very shortly. And one of the things I want you to sort of pay attention to is the different types of energy that you bring to it. So everybody is a little bit different in their own energy level and how they channel their energy as well. For me, I always like to think that I'm a fairly high energy person. So as a result of that, when I go into these things, I know that the atmosphere and the environment is probably going to elevate me even more. So I like to sort of wind it back a little. For other people, they get into the moment and they want to amp it up even further. So it really just depends on what kind of an athlete you are, or what works to your strengths. But I found, throughout my time, performing and competing, I really enjoy having a more laid back approach to it and saving all of that energy to unleash that once the door closes or when, the actual competition starts. So Doctor's just doing, his checks, making sure that mouth guard, groin guard, little fist bump there with me. So he's just making his way over to his side of the cage, receiving the referee's instructions. The announcer's just making his... What's going on here? Close that. Announcer's just making his final announcements. I'm just nice and relaxed, highlighting. So I've got Coach Renato in the corner, Percy in the corner there, and that little greeting there with the hands. So that's actually, back from Kung Fu days, being of Chinese background. When you do this sort of a greeting, there's different meanings to each one. But the one with the fist forward typically denotes, a combat sort of greeting. And you can see, Andrew's energy is very, very different to my energy. He's high, he's hyped himself up, he's pumped, he's ready to go. And when you see something like that, I sort of expected a bit of a fast start from him. And I'd done, a bit of homework on him previously, so I already knew that coming out he was going to be a southpaw. So for me, in terms of how I wanted to come out in this fight as well, I was going to come out southpaw because he probably wouldn't have known exactly what to expect from me. But he's fought, plenty of orthodox strikers before. And away we go. So quick glove touch followed by an inside leg kick there from Andrew. So he started very fast. And you can see, he's putting his shots together very well. And so one of the things that you can see what I was trying to set up there. So let me just pause there and I'm just going to go back a step. So because it's so fast at the beginning, I sort of have to wind it back so that you guys can really appreciate, what was going on there. So one of the things that I noticed about Andrew's style is that, so because he's a southpaw, if I'm in southpaw as well, I could obviously attack his leg. And one of the things that I wanted to set up was my left leg. So that's why you'll see the initial attack that I threw was actually a low kick. And then the second attack that I threw after that was a kick to the body. And one of the things that I was working to set up later on was that I wanted his hands to drop so that I could throw the inside crescent kick to the inside. Now, because I'd done my homework on him, I noticed that the only time Andrew really throws in orthodox is he's throwing the spinning heel kick. So it's turning with the left leg and kicking with the right. So I'll just run that sequence again. And you see I went low. Next one's going middle. And I like to tack, I think it's worthwhile if the hands come down to tack that left cross on the top of it. And he's countered back straight away. But you can see he's gone straight to that, as soon as he's turned, he's gone for that spinning heel kick. And because of the distance, I was already so close that I could basically just stuff the kick. I didn't have to worry about being at the end of his attack. And I could push forward from there. So one of the things that, as you don't really visualize or you don't really think about is how slippery the canvas could be. So, throwing that high kick, I did sort of slip a little. In this grappling exchange here, you can see I went straight to the double underhooks, kicked that knee through the middle. And then I went back straight to the low kick there. There's the body. And a bit of a slip again there for me. There's the teep. There's the low again. And then that's what I was looking for. So let's just backpedal one step on that. So I guess one of the differences between preparation and visualization versus actually landing it in the fight, excuse me, is you don't really think about exactly how the size of the person is. Now, Andrew actually ended up being a bit taller than what I was expecting. So you can see like the shot was very close to landing. It looks like it's very close there, but I actually clipped his shoulder. But what I noticed is that the hands had started to drop whenever I was throwing those kicks to the body or those kicks to the leg. So as a result of that, that's what sets up that inside crescent kick. So unfortunately it didn't land, or it landed but just didn't land the way that I wanted. Landed the left hand over the top, and I think he returned fire with a kick or something there. And then you can see that I shot for this takedown. So what you hear the commentators say is like it's almost like a bit of a Jorge Masvidal moment where I was backed up against the cage. So when you're backed up against the cage, you only really have a couple of options. You're either going to be stuck in that position, in which case you're in the firing line. The second option is to try and punch your way or kick your way out. So you need to strike to make your opponent back up and respect the space. Or the third option here, which is what I took, was to sort of bait a bit of a shot. So because the distance was so close, it was very easy for me to just level change and come down and complete this takedown. So I've moved into side control here, and in the heat of the moment, like one of the things that I was probably a little bit gung-ho about was I was too gung-ho on the striking. Like I should have just slowed the match right down here and just played more to the grappling exchanges. But you can see, so one of the things that I was trying to do here was I was trying to push my left knee across, and I was going to slide into mount, but he had the underhook there. This could have actually been a far side armbar set up as well, but anyway, because of the way that his arm was, I bailed. I decided I'd bail on the mount and instead, try and get up and strike. Now, I made a mistake here, because what I should have done, from where my left hand is here, where it's on his shoulder, as soon as I backed up further and I've made that extended arm of his useless, I should have actually just C-gripped it, and C-gripped with my left hand on the back of his neck and pushed his head down, and then basically from there I would have been able to land the right hand blind, because it's basically just meeting your own hand with your fist, and that's what I should have done. Unfortunately, you can see I got a little bit excited and I whiffed a couple of big shots, left, right, left, yep, and then immediately went back into the stand-up exchanges. So a bit of a mistake from me there. I think next time in those positions, and I probably need to drill it more as well, is that when I've got somebody hurt and or when I've got somebody on the ground and I'm the first one up, if I can take advantage of those controls, I needed to use that control to then try and obviously secure the finish, right? So we're back up, and you'll see, one of the things he was feigning there. Now, I sort of I think the commentators made a comment about my hands being low, and so I'll use this point to sort of talk about it. So the way I sort of view defense is that there's 3 layers to your defense. The first layer is your positioning. So if I'm out of reach and he can't strike me at all, then there's no harm in being like operating with my hands down, because there's no threat of the attack anyway. If the distancing is a little bit closer than that, then the second layer of defense is for me to obviously parry and then counter or perform some form of a counter. The third layer would be to just block the attack. And the fourth layer, if you're getting to the fourth layer, basically you're getting hit. So you can see here, I've just braced and blocked the attack, but and then I'm looking to counter. There's the teep again, and you can see. So even though that shot was very close, I'm hands down, but I can see the range is just where I needed it to be just out of range. Alright, so that was a layer 2 defense there. So parry, and then this one out of range, don't have to worry too much about it. Big smile on my face, and then I come forward, and so that was another inside crescent kick. Well, it was like an inside crescent kick style of throw, but you can see whether I'm just a little bit shorter and didn't throw it, not enough flexibility in my legs, or Andrew was just too tall for me, didn't land. But the shot right after it was money. Boom, right there. As soon as I've landed, there's a big smile on my face, and I proceed to walk forward. So in this next exchange, so this was a little bit gung-ho of me as well. I was almost like trying to do a Demetrious Johnson in his last fight versus Mariah's, coming forward with the knee. What I should have done, instead of just rushing forward for the knee, is gone in with a couple of shots, and then once I had Andrew backed up against the cage, then throw the knee. So if you watch it again, by the time I threw the knee, he's still got like a meter to reach that cage. So there's plenty of space for him to back out. So we go straight back into the grapple, over-under position. So using the whizzer, now I'm just framing on his head. Once I've got that frame on the head, it does allow me to throw a few shots here. Back to the over-unders. He tries to throw the knee, which is a great idea. I start to block the knee. Allows me an opportunity to strike on the break. Spinning back fist attempt there. Now go back to low again. He comes forward, good shots. Yep. So I think at that point in time, the commentator actually started to say Johnny's defense is quite good. You can see there like that, even though that shot lands, it's a good shot. I think it just got around, snuck around. Sorry, I'm trying to go backwards here, but it's a bit slow. There you go. Yeah, so you can see that shot. Yeah, it snuck through. That got me. And I've switched to Orthodox here. And part of the reason I wanted to switch to, I made that switch to Orthodox is because a lot of the times Southpaws are very used to people trying to take the outside foot position. But because he didn't take the outside foot position, you can see, so I'm on my foot's on the outside, which allows that next cross to come straight through the middle. And so then that was straight into a knee. So, you know, when somebody's in trouble, a lot of the times they will try and shoot or dip their head. And so that's why, you know, following up with the knee, especially against the cage, is a great option. So let's just take another look at that. Yep. So right hook, left cross, left knee. We turn, frame on his head, another left knee there. He throws a knee to my breadbasket, lands. And we come to the end of the round, and I saw an opportunity there, had the body lock, went for the leg lace, secured the takedown. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point in time. You know, I felt like it was a pretty good first round. Very comfortable in the striking. That was Andrew's spin kick. You can see I landed the left kick, but then I slipped. And then he's taken that opportunity to clinch us up. Inside crescent kick to the left hand. He returned fire with the left knee. And that was the takedown, securing the takedown, passing the legs, moving into side control. So yeah, so here, bit gung-ho, went for the shots, should have had the left hand control on the back of his neck. And then you can see just out of range, but then that beautiful inside crescent kick to that left hand again. Left hand on the break after the clinch. And the leg lace to finish off the round. So here we go, come out into round two. We touch gloves. Go straight back to the low kick. I check that one. I threw a low kick of my own. So I'm in Orthodox here. So again, you know, off that spinning kick, no fear of the spinning kick if you're out of the range. So layer one of the defense, just really paying close attention to the range. And Andrew's movement is very good, you know, longitudinally. He does get out of the way quite well. He's respecting my shots now. So when I come forward with that left hook, he's out of the way. So even with the leg kicks, you know, he doesn't want to eat too many of those. So every time I come forward, he's out of the way. Inside leg kick, another leg kick. Okay, and he did something very smart here. So let's back up on that, because that was really smart. So he's taking control of the space, and he's caught my left hand, right? And originally you can see here, he's in Southpaw, I'm in Orthodox. So lead hand to lead hand, common battle that we'll see. So he's covering the space here. He catches my hand. I don't like that, so I need to free my hand. But he does something really smart. If you pay attention to his stances, he's actually switched into Orthodox. And because he switched into Orthodox, you know, that left hand of his, yeah, here we go. That left hand of his, woo, just went past me, but hey, very, very good shot. All right, good shot selection. Right hand misses. I try and throw my left hand off his right. He backs up out of the way. And we continue from there. So let's go back. Let's go back on that. So yeah, so into Southpaw here. So I've gone with the right, he's gone with his right. Back to the low kick. He goes up top. I'm back into orthodox here. So giving him a different look to the first round when I was playing more on in South. But here we go. Back into ortho. Side kick from me there. And you can see, so he's doing a great job of getting out of the way and not really letting me start my shots. So, you know, unfortunately threw that kick there. So I'll just rewind that. Okay, so, yep, so he threw that kick. I caught the kick, walked him down. Now, shout out to my mate, high school mate, Ivan. He messaged me after the fight and he was like, you know, when I was watching it, well, actually, when your fight came on, he was like, oh, I took my shirt off. I was so pumped up. And then he was like, oh, to me, this was like the best moment of the fight where I've caught Andrew's leg and I've walked him down and I've just looked so comfortable doing it. And then I've gone to try and take his head off. And he was like, oh, that was like such a boss moment for him. But anyway, shout out to Ivan. Yes, I was trying to take his head off, but, you know, and this is where awareness is really, really key. One of the things that I'm always really big on is trying to know, you know, exactly where my opponent is relative to the cage, because striking against the cage is absolutely pivotal, right? Like you can land great shots and it's almost like hitting somebody who's on the ground. If you think of the wall or the cage like the ground, you've got that opportunity to bounce a head off the canvas or off the cage. You should absolutely take it, but you got to pay attention. You got to play the rules, right? So in this position right here, you know, I can only throw the hands, but as soon as that hand leaves the ground, you can see what happens. Boom. So that's an opportunity there, and then straight back into the strike. Knee to the body, exit the exchange. We're south on south here. So. And look, I think some of the things that I could work on in the striking was that I definitely headhunted way too much in this fight. You know, I probably should have thrown some hands to the body and gone, you know, mixed up my levels a little bit more. I think I got a little bit too predictable in round 2. So definitely something that, you know, I'll be trying to keep in my mind, you know, should I get back in there again. And we're back in this sort of position again, where we're waiting to see, you know, who's going to throw what. So I initiate the takedown here against the cage, or try to initiate the cage wrestle. So we're in the over-under position, and I make a mistake here. So I go for the knee there, but this is the mistake that I made. Because I'm the one that's initiated the cage wrestle, what I did was I had the whizzer on the right hand, but I put the whizzer over to like a trap grip, thinking that, you know, I'm going to go for like an uchimata or a haragoshi. So whether it's an inner thigh throw or a haragoshi across both legs. But stupid me isn't thinking about that he's against the cage. Like, I've got no judo throw here. There is no throw here. So anyway, so I sort of realized that, hey, I've given up on the whizzer, but it's too late. I sort of, when I've gone back for the whizzer, Andrew's managed to turn around me and he secures the takedown here. So he gets to side control. And for me, you know, once I got to side control, look, you know, you can see, because of the way that he's got his hand there, it's preventing my right arm from framing on the inside. So, you know, to do a normal sort of knee and elbow escape, frame your knee so your elbow to the inside, try and create space, put your knee through to re-guard. His positioning, like he kept that left hand there to sort of be in my way. But the thing was that, hey, it opened up the buggy choke. So you can see the guy in the background with the clacker going off there, final 10 seconds of the round. I've got a fully locked in buggy. I'm not taking any damage. Unfortunately, it's not enough time to try and get the sub. But it was opportunistic, right? To be able to throw a buggy in an MMA fight, why not? And you see, I'm pretty happy with that, you know. And so it's just going through some of the replay. So let's have a look here. So that was his spinning heel kick. And you see, so you can see how he's really respecting my shots. That's that boss moment, so to speak. And yeah, this is the mistake that I made. So you can see I went back for the overhook here, but Andrew's already starting to make his way behind me. And because of that, look at my my left foot and his left foot. He gets behind that. And as I've turned, his left foot behind my right foot there. He didn't even really need to sweep me. I was already off balance. And down we go. So I lock up the buggy. very, very new meta, so to speak. And like one of the things that I really, for me, I wasn't really so much necessarily so focused on the outcome of the fight. What it was that I just wanted to have a good showing. I wanted to be able to showcase my striking, my grappling, my wrestling, like a bit of everything. And that's one of the things that I'm really grateful that I got to do. Andrew's a tough guy. I was his 6th MMA fight, so he's been in there many, many times. He knows what to expect. So as a result of that, it was a really great dance partner, so to speak, for me to be able to showcase as much of my skill set as possible. So we're going to the 3rd round. Question mark kick there. Again, me playing the range. I can afford to be hands down if I'm out of range and I'm not going to get hit. As soon as he comes into that range, you can see my hands start to come up. There's that sort of like an inside crescent kick, but to the body. The left hand misses. He's respecting that shot now. Nice kick to the body there. And again, he's trying to play that hand trap game. And so I shot a lazy takedown here. I should have been a little bit more patient. If I wanted to shoot that takedown, so I'm just going to go back a step. So he throws that kick. After the kick, I should have waited. I should have waited for the hands to come. And that was the difference between the takedown in the 1st round versus this takedown in the 3rd round. I sort of rushed the takedown. I should have just waited for a little bit longer before shooting that takedown. But anyway, I get sprawled on. He's got a good front headlock here. Goes to the back. Gets his right hook in. So I turn before he can get the other hook in. And we go straight to, trying to fight the position. So right now I'm trying to get, obviously focus on the hand. Yep. I get a grip on the arm. That allows me to turn back in. Now Andrew's got quite long legs, so I didn't want to risk, being caught in a triangle. So straight away backed up. But you can see I make a mistake here. Again, too gung ho. I'm wanting to get the finish. I go for the big shot, and I'm still throwing here, right? This is like the slowest double leg takedown in the world. He's on his knees, crawling forwards, and stupid me does not choose to pummel. I choose to keep trying to punch the guy in the head. So as a result of that, I don't have a single underhook, let alone double underhooks, and I should have just pummeled and sprawled back on him. But I get pushed up against the cage, and I'm still throwing shots. And as a result of that, I go for a ride. So Andrew's got me against the cage here. I'm still throwing shots, right? But at the same time, you can see I take a few big deep breaths here. He's not in a position to really hit me here, and all I want to do is make sure that he can't tie my legs up, get both of my legs together. And so playing that game a little bit, I've got the hook and I've got the foot on the hip. And I'm just waiting for the right moment here. He's obviously trying to get past my guard. He starts to throw a couple of shots, but I'm not really too worried about those shots because those shots is actually going to give me my opportunity to get up. So that was my opportunity to get up, and we go straight into. So I've got a frame on the legs there. So let's just go back a step so that you can see why. So as soon as we get up, he's throwing that knee. So I go to frame on the leg. He moves back. He goes for the guillotine. So straight away I need to go and fight the hands. You can't really see the angle here, but all I'm doing here is just trying to get a double wrist grip. And that double wrist grip is going to allow me to get back up because I can pull down on that hand. And he's going to want to try. He's trying to pull his hand back at the same time, and so as a result of that, that allows me to just get up and pop my head out. The other advantage of the double wrist grip here is that for him to throw a knee, if he wants to try and knee me in the face with his right knee, he's got to get past his own arm. I'm not really worried if he wants to knee me on the left side because what's he going to do? Knee my leg. So you can see he tries to throw the knee, and he's just hit his own arm there. So it's a good little buffer. So there we go. Get a position there, one underhook there. I've got the over under now. So we're back into the wrestle. I sort of get my head back in the game now, so you can see I'm trying to pummel back for the left underhook as well. And now here, what I managed to do is I managed to hook my right leg around his left leg. And because I've also got because I've managed to hook that leg, and I've got the underhook on that side, it allowed me to actually just take him out towards the cage. So it's almost like a Kasoragari sort of throw or takedown. I've got the overhook, I've got the underhook. So the overhook is allowing me to pull him down, the underhook is allowing me to push him up. So all of his weight's on that side, and you take out and I use my right hook, or my right leg, which is hooking his left leg, to take it out. Then we go into this end sequence here. So once I got to here, I knew it was on. So you can see plenty of shots being thrown here. So let's have a look. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, again, so you see the hands have come off the mat. So now's my chance to throw knees. So as soon as the hand came off the mat, that's the awareness that you've got to have. Yeah, and so away we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's punches now, but as soon as he turns to the other side, again, same thing with the knee, another knee. He tries to tie me up, and pretty much that was the end of the fight. So in reviewing that fight, there's a few things, as I said, that I picked up on straight away. Too greedy for the finish. And as a result of that, missed out on some of the controls that I should have had. So in that first round, as soon as I've come up, and had that top position, I should have just pushed down with my left hand, tried to meet my right fist to my left hand. The mistake in the second round of going for that, giving up on the overhook, that was a mistake as well. And then in the third round, definitely that lazy takedown. I should have waited for him to come forward. At the end of the day, if you cop that one shot or two shots, but then you get that takedown off the cage, it would have been a different fight. It would have been a different position. Instead, I spent, a minute and a half, whatever it was, in that bottom position in that third round. And I had to make sure that I had something in the gas tank for that last part of the round, because as soon as I got up, I knew, okay, I'm probably down in this third round now. I need to actually put a statement to rule it in my favor with the judges. And you never know what happens with judging, unfortunately. So with that, some great sportsmanship here. You can see Andrew's a tough guy, as I said, and full credit to him. It was a lot of fun to be in there with him. And then, they're going through, and we're about to get a decision here. And there we go. That was the decision. And that was the fight, guys. So now you've seen it. For those of you that haven't seen it, this was my fight up at XFC 60. If you've gotten this far and you've listened to me ramble about my own mistakes and talk you through this fight, hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if not, well, thanks anyway for watching. And as always, if you like, my videos, like, follow, subscribe. As I said, in this video, it's a little bit different. It's not as pointed. It's probably me rambling a little bit more than I normally do. I try and keep it very short, sharp, and sweet when I do my proper film studies. But when I review film, this is what I do. I'll sit here, I'll watch the fight, I'll pick up on the things. I'm writing these things down at the same time. And then I go back to it. And then, even just researching and pulling in other resources to make sure that I'm building a fair assessment of the things that I want to study. So thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Cheers.